Excellent. Now we will start. Okay, so it's 12:03. Also, that has been happening. Just
Okay,
we're
there.
having all sorts of technological issues today. It's where it's plugged into the laptop. That one you gotta wiggle. There you go. Now we pray for that board. All right. Okay, take 3. Let's start. So I will go through. Let me go through my roll call, and then for all the rest of us who are not on my list, we'll go around and do some introductions, as well as those joining virtually. All right. So let me know if you're here. Shelley Entrican.
Here.
Barb Long. Doug Manick. Audra Miles.
Here.
Joe Coffin. Craig Boynton.
Here.
Hannah Fuchs. David Luders.
Here.
Mary Patton.
Here.
Shamar Robinson. Here. Tracy Dowell.
Here.
She is. J. Thomas Howes. Vivian Hageman. Max Schneider. Tyler Rogers. Sean Griffin.
Sean.
Here.
We got a double. That's right, you did let me know in advance. Don Harper.
Here.
Jody Scott.
Here.
Angel Marinich. Renee Razzo. Chris Mitchell.
Here.
Don Rulis. And Greg Cassidy.
Here.
All right, let's see. So, and I will talk about this afterward. We don't quite have a quorum. We do need a quorum in the room. It's not my rule. If it were my rule, then that would be the case. But that's okay. It's our first meeting back mostly in person, so there's some growing names. So let's go through everyone else who I didn't call their names. Let's start virtually. I see Marie from Ivy Sill.
Yes, hi.
All right. And was there anyone else virtually I didn't catch? That was everyone. And now let's go around the room. We'll start over here.
Megan Bragg from Tazewell Mason Special Ed Association.
It's interesting because I've heard your name so many times.
Oh.
The first time I've seen you.
It's been a while. I came one other time.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a while.
We've got Troy Maxwell from We Care.
Adriana Tuzinski from Snyder Village.
If I may suggest, I have had to be on Zoom things for a while now because of my handicap. If the people who are talking, if they could face where the microphone is, because when you're there, you can't hear anything. It's natural to look at the person who was speaking to you. But if you're using this and you want them to pay attention, I don't know where to look. Do I look here? Do I look there?
Yeah.
For them to hear?
We should be good in this room. Last time we were in the other room and we didn't have mics throughout the room.
Oh,
But that's a good point. We do have those little mics right there. If anyone online can't hear us, just let us know, and we will try and do better. But thanks for saying that. All right, I think that's everyone here. Is there any public comment? Moving along, approval of the minutes. So we cannot approve them today because of lack of quorum, but they are in the packet if anybody has any comments. Okay, so we'll move on we'll table that and move on to item 4, which is provider and agency updates. Let's go just around the room since that's the easiest order here, and then we'll move on to the virtual. So Shamra, do you have anything to update? And why don't we say where you're from, just for anyone who's newly joining us.
Okay, so hi, I'm Dr. Shamma Robinson Macklin. I work for the Greater Peoria Mass Transit District CityLink. and I'm the Assistant Director of Operations. And let's see, new updates would be, we collaborated with the art partners for art entries for Juneteenth. So we are creating a new bus wrap. I'm very excited about that. So that's going to be tomorrow. And it's going to be at the Minority Business Alliance. So then billing will be there. So you will probably start seeing the bus moving across the community and district really soon. Still looking for paratransit drivers. So that will be more on the side of Angel with TransDev, but we're always going to promote just so we can get one-time performance up as well, because they do provide door-to-door service, as you know. So if there's anybody that you know that's interested in paratransit driving, you can always go to the city website and apply. Also, CityLink, we are looking for bus operators as well. We've been looking for quite some time, so if you know anybody that would be interested in that type of position, we do have a new director. Her name is Paige Hernan, and the position is also available on the CityLink website. So Paige, she started a couple weeks ago, so she is new to the role, but if you have any questions, and she would be able to help you navigate for positions that we provide at CityLink. And then, see, I've been working with Jim with the township supervisor position over in Washington. And so he and I are trying to work together on some marketing ideas for the City Lift service in Washington. And I've been working with Emily, which is our marketing director at CityLink, just so that people have an idea of the service that we are providing over there and to get more attraction towards it.
Got going on.
That's my report. Thank you.
Jody, do you have any?
My name's Jody Scott. I'm from Advocates for Access, and I don't have anything. So, Adriana Tuzinski with Snyder Village. Our transportation coordinator, Audrey Barrett, is leaving us at the end of this month. So we have that transition going on, and we are actively looking for applicants. We recently had to change who we went to for like lifts and maintenance and other things for our buses. So if you have any good recommendations in the Metamora, Washington, Peoria area, please let us know.
Thanks. Moving on to Audrey.
Audrey Miles from Fulton County. I don't have anything.
All right.
Shelby Entrigan from Fulton County Rural Transit and Fulton County Rehab Center.
Sounds good. Oh, I forgot to mention that Michael's here from Tri-County. So. He's helped me out. So moving on.
Greg Cassidy from Tazewell County Resource Center. Big thing for us on the TCRC side is we purchased a new building that will be our home for administration, some programs in downtown Pekin. We bought the old Herget Bank. So we got a lot of space, got some work to do. I've got a vault and a safety deposit box room, which is exciting for doing something. I'm not sure what for, but pretty pleased with it. And then we have our 5310 review coming up at the end of the month. So,
Excellent.
and Troy Maxwell's our new director in care.
Perfect.
I'm Troy Maxwell, We Care, District Director of Transportation, and we are in need of drivers also. Anybody knows? That's all I have.
Mary Patton with AARP of Peoria County. Last time I came, I mentioned that AARP was lobbying on the state for a budget increase in the adult day services transportation part. And I think the last time I heard, we got an additional 1.7 million. It's not what we wanted, but we were very happy to get what we have. Right now, even though this has nothing to do with transportation, it affects your costs. Ameren is one of 5 utilities that is going before the ICC and asking for additional rate increases. This is one of the things that the ICC is looking at all summer long. We will be intervening and testifying against those rate increases. We are going to be contacting many organizations to see if you guys would make calls to the ICC, and we'll give you some more information around Wright County. And if you would call ICC and tell them how it's going to affect your budget. There will be more coming on this, but I think the decision is made in November, so we have the summer. Yeah. Thank you.
Can you tell us what the ICC is for anyone who doesn't?
Oh, I'm sorry, Illinois Commerce Commission.
All right, thank you. Ron.
Craig Boynton with the City of Galesburg Public Transportation. We have a couple items going on. I have a mechanic that just left, so I am in need of a new transit shop foreman. We're luckily blessed that we can work with the city's mechanics to kind of help us through the process. We have a RFP out currently for a transit study for our organization, which is going to, in the future, as we see it, involve expanding quite a bit out into the county, and also working with our sister county, Warren County. So that's going to provide some benefits, I think, for us, and hopefully open up another pool of money for us for helping maintain our equipment and staffing. As everybody else, our equipment is band-aided, duct taped, super glued, anything you can at this point. So we're patiently waiting for the CBP.
All right, thanks. Moving on to Megan.
Megan Brake from Tazewell Mason Special Ed. I don't really have anything except that we're really grateful for the Washington Transit and teaching the students to transition to using public transportation. That's been really helpful this year. So hope it continues.
Yes.
Dawn Harper with Epic Transportation. I just recently hired a bus driver as of 2 weeks ago. I'm just dealing with the day-to-day transportation needs, and I've also had to outreach with a different mechanic. The best thing I found out there is dealerships, but you have a 60 to 90 day wait.
Wow.
Yeah, dealerships, and I've been to every dealership. So good luck. It's hard.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's pretty much about it.
Well, someone wants to open a new shop, but that'd be great.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to people online. Let's start with Marie from Ivyville.
Hi, this is Marie from Illinois Valley Center for Independent Living. Our office did move, so we're in Spring Valley now. The address is 1 Les, LES, Buzz, BUZZ Way. And then we're still in Streeter every Tuesday from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. So if anybody ever, if it's closer for them to come to Streeter, they can always come here. But that's really it for the updates.
Thank you. How about Tracy Dowell with MSW Projects?
Yes, this is Tracy. So we are finally back to full staff, including our office staff, and we have all of our drivers. The issue that we are starting to encounter, we have just been slammed with being so busy prior to what I'm about to say, but I think that's a lot of the medical offices have been playing catch up, and so we've been busy on that, and now within the last couple of weeks, 2 of the nursing homes in our local area no longer provide transportation for their residents. So now we are in that boat of trying to help them out on top of already being busy. So that's kind of creating a hiccup in our area. Is it's a tight line to walk with being, it's good to be busy, but yet too busy, gives us more expenses and stuff. So we're not quite sure yet how we're going to handle that. We used to take some people from those facilities and the social worker would call us. Now they're leaving it up to their residents to call us. So that kind of also creates another issue with getting the reservations made, because some of them, have memory impairment issues or whatnot. So that's creating a little more on our end. The other thing that's happened in our area is kind of to the north of us in Spring Valley and Peru. There were 2 hospitals. One of them closed earlier this year, which is now, I guess, being reopened. The other one in Spring Valley is kind of up in the air. And that also has an effect on our riders with where they're going, and sometimes they're not sure where that is. And so that has been kind of changing because of the doctors associated with those hospitals. So we've been having a lot of fun lately with all of our changes we've had. But on a positive note, we've got the staff for it.
That's good, at least. But I'm sure that's very confusing. So good luck as you move forward. How about Dave Luters? Do you have any updates for Marshall County?
No real updates, but I'm surprised that Tracy didn't comment on the lake and bridge being closed on Route 17. Basically, everybody in Marshall County can't wait till November until that thing's back open. That's really hurting.
I can hear
I'm
you.
sorry, we've got some air going on in here that's pretty loud. Could you say that one more time, a little louder?
Well, I'm just saying that I'm surprised that Tracy didn't also comment on the pain from having the Lakin Route 17 bridge at Lakin closed. That's creating a lot of grief for everybody in the county right now.
Yeah, the bridge on 17.
Yeah, okay, that's good to know. All right, thank you.
Yeah, this is Tracy again, and I'll just comment on that. That is one of the issues that we've had, as far as it mostly affects some of our Lakin people when they're going to Chillicothe, because we have to go then through Henry, so it's making a little bit longer of a trip. That started, I believe, in March, so we're kind of old hat with that now. So yeah, we're on the countdown to November as well, which hopefully it'll be open by then.
That's right. Now that you say that, I have taken that detour. So I think the others on the phone, we've got Chris Mitchell. Do you have an update? You might be muted. We can fix that on our end. You might have to try *6 on your phone. That sometimes unmutes it. Okay, we'll have to circle back. Sorry about that. Moving on. What else was on the phone? Oh, we had Sean Griffin from We Care. Do you have anything else to add?
Yes, our TripMaster software is going along perfectly. The drivers are finding it a lot easier, and dispatch is also finding it easier to find a driver for medical returns. Things are going smooth. We anticipate July 1st to hopefully be mostly done with all the paper and just go straight to the tablets and everything.
Nice. That's great. And I think the last one I've got on my list is Melissa from IDOT. Is there anything you'd like to share for us?
I don't have anything terribly new. We did recently start 2 new Northern Section project managers. So we are excited about that, to hopefully fill out our staff a little more, and and hope that'll benefit a lot of these Northern Section counties as well. I don't have anything else really new. CVP, we're still have a request for bid out and waiting on some answers to whether or not we'll be getting some of the grants we applied for additional funding for vehicles. Other than that, we're still trucking along.
All right, thank you. I think we are done here. So we'll move on to agenda item number 5, which is discussion of the bylaw changes. So this is in your packet. I did email it out as well, so anyone online can see it via email. I will go through each of the changes, and if you have any questions, feel free to let me know while I'm talking. I think that'll make it easier. We don't have to wait till the end, because I have several kind of small ones. So the reason I was interested in updating the bylaws is just because the OMA changes, which I will get into, so I was gonna just start with that section, and I ended up just doing, I wouldn't say an overhaul, but I read through everything just to make sure it was still up to date. So starting at the beginning, I mostly just added the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act for the record to mention that that is continuing this HSTP process, and all the changes are in red. Moving on to the second page, at the very top, it used to mention the Peoria Pekin Urbanized Area Transportation Study. This basically, Tri-County was structured in a different way that has since changed. So we don't use that name anymore, so I just erased that. That is just, again, just for the record to update that. And let's see. The rest on that page are pretty much just wording. So moving on to page 3, at the top here, rereading this, I thought that it was pretty strict. So it used to say that after 90 days of appointment, if someone does not submit an OMA training certificate, who's on the board, who's on the committee, I should say, if they don't submit a OMA training certificate to me after 90 days of appointment, then they are not permitted to vote at meetings. This seemed a little strict for me. So, although I did change it to say that HSTP staff can contact the member's respective county board chair or recommend a new member in their place. That doesn't mean we will. It's just giving an option. Again, just to make sure that folks are engaged, and admittedly, I have not been keeping up with this timeline, so this will trigger my need to look through what everyone does. So if you have not responded, or if you've not given me that that certificate, then I'll just follow up with you. So after this, and this is actually just a discussion item, so we are not voting on this today. I wanted to give you guys some heads up. So moving on to this Article 4 meetings. This is the big part. And admittedly, I had to reread this part of the Open Meetings Act because it is, at least to me, it's very confusing. So if this is my job and if it's confusing to me, then I'm sure it can be confusing to others. So originally I thought that we can include everyone in a forum if they have the proper excuse, if they're online. However, the law states that if a quorum of the members of the public body is physically present, so we first have to have a physical quorum, and then we can also allow for virtual participation with 3 exceptions. So virtual participation is allowed for a personal illness or disability, or employment purposes, or a family or other emergency. So some folks contacted me in advance and they said they fit into one of these categories, and I said, yes, feel free to participate virtually. So those are all the changes. Essentially, if I didn't include these in the bylaws, then the OMA, Open Meetings Act, would still be true. eliminate our bylaws, but it helps to just have it. So, the last thing, I did make a small change. This is on the very last page of the bylaws. So it says, letter E, all members of the committee shall receive a mail or email notice of the date, time, and place of each meeting no later than 7 calendar days was the original. I changed it to 3 only because that is what the OMA designates. However, I will say that for me, 7 days is still my best practice. Again, if you have any issues with these, I'm happy to talk about them. But that was just to match what the OMA has. So I still want to give you more than 3 days, but that is just going to take a while. So with all those changes, take any discussion or have any comments? And so that will likely come up in the next meeting that we would vote on it if we have a forum. So if you have any comments you can think of afterward, you can tell me as well. So moving on to agenda item 6, which is section 5310, program management plan update. It's a handout. I will start by saying this applies to the urbanized area. So unfortunately, it doesn't apply to everyone sitting at this table, but I did want to bring it up. So this is a document that relates to our Federal Transit Administration funding under Section 10, which is enhanced mobility of seniors and individuals with disabilities. So the Peoria area, because of our population, we receive funding directly from EDS, FTA, and it is our job to administer this funding. And it is, again, admittedly, a kind of confusing program. just for us to update it, it took some backflips, and we had to reread circular, and it was, so Michael did a lot of it. So I guess you want to talk about some changes. It was mostly just updating it to be more up to date, I guess, for lack of a better word. And we had the last one was published in 2015, so it's pretty old. Is there anything else?
Yeah, no, we just went through it, just kind of making it more current, kind of follows existing kind of practices and policies that REMA follows when administering the Section 5310 funding. So admittedly, this document is more for Tri-County staff to kind of follow through. We go through the selection process, but it's also for the FTA to, when they review us, make sure that we're following what we said we're going to do. They use this document to make sure that we do all the things that we said we would do. So we through the Fund 5310 circular from the FTA. There's no defined format, but they do have kind of suggestions on what to include. So this document has information on the program goals and objectives, which we utilized our HSTP document for that. It defines the roles and responsibilities of all the different organizations. It talks about our coordination efforts, the different eligible subrecipients, the local share requirements, the project selection criteria, and then the method of dispersing funds, the annual program of projects, and the approval process. We talk about the administration, planning, and technical assistance, transfer funds, private sector partnership, and then kind of different requirements, legal requirements such as civil rights with Title VI, and the equal employment opportunity, disadvantaged business enterprises, Section 504 and EDA requirements, program measures, program management, and then some just additional provisions such as like the NEPA and all those other fun legal requirements. So that's kind of an overview of what's all in it. So I don't know if you want me to get too much more in detail. I'll be happy to if anyone has questions, but.
Riveting.
Yes.
Just sit down for bed and just go through all the pages.
If you need to fall asleep, a lot of coffee was used to write this. So it's basically similar to our last one with just some minor updates and more clarification. So.
Well, you can take this home, do whatever you feel like you want with it, and then we'll take any comments and consideration today, or you can email me later. Lost all the phone people. I don't know why. I hope something didn't happen. All right. Well, we're almost done. We got just a few more. So the next thing here is the HSTP coordinator report. I've got just a few things. So on May 16th, Tri-County held we called it a walk, bike, ride, Greater Peoria event. And we did have some folks in the room join us, which we really appreciate. We are gearing up to update our active transportation plan. What that means is walking and biking and also transit. So essentially kind of everything but cars, to give people different options on how they can choose to use transportation. We had two speakers. We had Mark Fenton, who is an expert in walkability in cities. And then we had Charles T. Brown from an organization called Equitable Cities, and he talked mostly about the equity element when it comes to designing cities to be walkable and usable on a human scale. So that was a really good event. I'm happy that we were able to collaborate with multiple agencies, and that kicks off this planning process that we'll probably bring up later as we do more with that. Last week or a couple weeks ago, Tri-County submitted a grant for, it's called Section 5305 Transit Planning, and IDOT had released that. We collaborated with GPMT here locally to submit a grant about a bus stop inventory, because we know that not all the bus stops are ADA compliant. They vary wildly in safety, and some of them have benches, some of them have just a sign, so things like that. So we want to understand what exists in our area. In addition to, so we would collect the data and use public engagement to ask people which ones you use the most, which would benefit from more money, and bringing it back to this program management plan, which identifies how we administer the $5310. We could use, if we get selected for this, we could use $5310 to upgrade bus stops that are identified in this plan. So it's all a big loop. And it ended up being kind of a last minute thing, but we're happy we did it. So hopefully that'll provide kind of a menu of options moving forward. And the last thing is, and it was mentioned over here, I have some more 5310 reviews with some organizations, and this is through, so IDOT requires all the HSTP coordinators to talk with different agencies that received vehicles through CBP programs in the past. And so I will go and visit them and help make sure that everything's doing well and help as much as I can. And that is all I have. Anybody has any questions or comments? Anything else?
Let me just go around the room and ask those applied for and receive CBP funding past.
past.
Yes.
Yeah.
The last like 5.
We would be right on the border of that 5-year mark. We have half dozen, 8 vehicles. Our only hitch with them is when we have 2 that are out of commission. Getting them removed from the list is a process that they said we keep mileage, but getting them transferred just to our name so that we can dispose of them, it's not an easy process.
You're not the first person to do that.
I didn't figure it was. I didn't think it was just an us issue, but.
Yep. I won't comment further, but I'm
No
aware.
worries.
Else.
Get some good vehicles.
12.
Well, moving on from that, the last couple are just other. And one thing that I thought of actually is that back in the day, pre-COVID, we used to meet in this room, we had name tents, and I completely forgot. So are you all interested? We can print some tents with all your names, and then you can all clearly see who everyone is. You can remember them at the beginning.
That'd be good.
You don't have the cards with
Yes.
them large enough for people to see at the other end of the room. But when we're talking about what we used to do, are we still stamping the parking tickets? Okay, because I didn't, when I came in, I was early, I didn't see the stamp there, so I didn't, since we hadn't met, I didn't know if there was a change.
We have a slightly different process now, so we will give you, that's a good reminder. So anyone who parked in our deck, we'll give you a coupon, and we'll talk more. So we will make sure your parking's taken care of. So next time I will have maintenance. So any other last thing?
I've got just new rider guides. So these were just printed. So if anybody's interested in them, have at it. But it was just one small change from what I understand. The number 8, which is Sunnyland, and it's only by maybe a couple minutes here and there. So
That's good. Okay, well, hearing that, we're gonna call it. Let's adjourn at 12:41 p.m. Thanks for coming, everyone.
every month or something, right? Something, yeah.
Everybody, city bus, city bus.
They have to do something. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, but they're just on that.